In a stunning turn, the Trump administration is preparing to send dozens of Ukrainians back into a war zone. Midnight deportation lists, military flights, and a scramble for diplomatic cover. As Ukraine fights for survival, Washington moves to deport those it once sheltered. And for many, the next stop may be the front line. The Trump administration is preparing to deport numerous Ukrainians with final orders of removal back to their war-ravaged homeland, as the government moves to intensify deportations while Ukraine seeks to deepen its ties with Washington. According to a US Justice Department court filing on November 12th, the government plans to deport Roman Surovtsev, aged 41, to Ukraine as early as November 16th. His attorneys say Immigration and Customs Enforcement appears to be preparing to remove a significant number of Ukrainian nationals, with detainees being informed that they will be sent via military flights to Ukraine or Poland on November 16th. Surovtsev's case is unusually complex. Brought to the US at age 4, he later committed crimes that led to a 2014 deportation order. Ukraine refused to confirm his citizenship, and Russia declined to accept him, forcing ICE to release him under rules against indefinite detention. He built a life in Texas, but was re-arrested under Trump's mass deportation campaign. A federal judge upheld his indisputably valid removal order, saying he could be sent to Russia or a third country, and noting Ukraine is now more cooperative. On November 14th, ICE told him to pack for deportation. His lawyers say he repeated his fears, but was denied another asylum screening. They argue he faces danger as a Russian-speaking foreigner in a country at war. Meanwhile, Olha Stefanishina, Ukraine's ambassador to the United States, confirmed that the embassy is aware of approximately 80 Ukrainian nationals who have final orders of removal due to violations of US law. She said US authorities were organizing the logistics required for removals, particularly in light of the absence of direct flights to Ukraine. Stefanishina noted that deportation is a widely used legal mechanism applied routinely to foreign nationals and stateless individuals who violate immigration laws, regardless of nationality. Ukraine has previously been reluctant to cooperate fully with US efforts to remove some immigrants. But this stance may be shifting as Ukraine struggles to repel Russian attacks, recruit soldiers, and maintain US support. Talking on the development, an advisor to President Volodymyr Zelensky said,
"The US can deport as many as they want. We'll find good use for them."
Against this backdrop, Surovtsev's lawyers, Eric Lee and Chris Godshall-Bennett, have warned that Ukrainians and other former Soviet citizens may be at risk of being removed without the opportunity to contest their deportations. They said it appears that some detainees are not being given the right to demonstrate a fear of removal before being deported, calling this unlawful. They stressed that Ukraine is a war zone under martial law, and argued that deportees are likely to be forcibly drafted into the army and sent to the front line, where they face a high risk of death. A Department of Homeland Security spokesperson said ICE does not confirm future removal operations for security reasons, but stated that Surovtsev had received full due process and insisted that every single detainee receives due process and has their claims heard. Families of at least 2 other detainees told The Washington Post they had been informed that their relatives would be returned to Ukraine as early as Monday. One detainee, Andrei Bernik, said ICE officers told him he would be flown to Poland on a charter plane and then handed to Ukrainian authorities. Bernik, who arrived in the US aged 13 as a Jewish refugee from the Soviet Union, was convicted of second-degree murder more than a decade ago. His sentence was commuted in 2022 by California Governor Gavin Newsom, who said Bernik had shown commitment to rehabilitation. Bernik said,
"I deserve to get deported, but not in the war zone. Not where the war is right now."